We begin today's Cowboys Report with the latest on CeeDee Lamb. The Cowboys started, voluntary workouts today at the facility. And as expected, CeeDee Lamb is not present for the organization, which had been reported previously, and it's not technically a holdout. Now, the Cowboys' offseason dates sit like this. April 15th, workouts begin. Most of your players, not all, will be in there, and it's not always a bad sign if they aren't. Sometimes they're doing things away from the team and still working out. But you want your guys to be there as much as possible. Voluntary OTAs begin May 21st to 23rd, 29th, 30th. Probably more important than the offseason workouts are, certainly. Those are kind of more voluntold options. Mandatory minicamp, June 4th and 6th. That is mandatory, by the way. Training camp in late July. I think training camp is the date to monitor the good over-under here from that perspective. So will CeeDee Lamb get a deal done before training camp? Y for yes, N for no. Sound off in the comments. This isn't technically a holdout, by the way. These are voluntary events, workouts. You don't have to be there. It's not technically a holdout from that perspective. But make no mistake, you want players there, and not everyone is going to go. That's fine. But I do believe this. If CeeDee Lamb had been paid in February or in March or whenever, he'd be here, right? He'd be at the voluntary workout stage. He's not. Now, Calvin Watkins has reported the Cowboys and Lamb's agent haven't had any substantial talks at this stage. They just haven't, which I hate. I hate this. This is the constant cycle this organization finds itself in. We're going to wait. We're not going to pay. We don't want to set the market. We're the Cowboys. We don't believe in paying market rates. And then they will eventually cave. And that annoys me. And this was going to happen, whether it's this week, next week, month from now, 2 months from now, before the year begins, whenever, they'll cave and eventually pay CeeDee Lamb. I am trying to make it easier on this franchise by saying, hey, be proactive when you have a no-doubt top 5 wide receiver. Instead, this is the organization that didn't even bother to meet with Lamb's agent at the Combine. They're not actively trying. That is frustrating to me. So what is your trust level when it comes to contracts with this front office overall? Scale it for me from 1 to 10. 1 on the low end, 10 on the high end. It's the pin comment, by the way, so if the ad comes on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Of all the things the Cowboys could have, should have, would have done, whatever this offseason, the CeeDee Lamb extension stands out as the most obvious. You have I think a pretty consensus top 5 player at his position who is entering the final year of his contract. Maybe you didn't want to pay Dak. Maybe you want to wait a year for Micah. Okay, those are doable. You could have freed up a lot of salary cap space by paying CeeDee Lamb. And Dallas hasn't really made progress here. Here's what Adam Schefter reported on NFL Live on ESPN today. The Dallas Cowboys may not see CeeDee Lamb again until he gets his contract extension. And again, this is something the Cowboys have been prepared for, planned for. They know they have to pay him. They want to pay him. But the two sides right now are not close to getting a long-term deal done. And while they're not, CeeDee Lamb will stay away. This is what bothers me. Why is it always like this with top-of-the-market contracts? Why is this the way it always goes? If the player comes to the team, Trayvon Diggs, Lyle Collins, Jalen Smith, they'll do those deals and they'll win the deal because they end up being team-friendly contracts that are below market. But when it comes to players who want to get top-of-the-market money, it's, we've planned for this, we want to do it, but we haven't done it yet. It's that way with Dak Prescott twice now, by the way. Was it that way with Tank Lawrence? They almost had Zach Martin held out 1.5 times to get paid. It's a Hall of Fame guard, by the way. Amari Cooper hit free agency. This is a pretty consistent thing when it comes to the top-of-the-market players for the Cowboys. They lowball offers, and then they eventually cave later on because they got to win the deal. The CeeDee Lamb contract is going to be very expensive. I know that. It'll probably pay more than Tyreek Hill is going to pay. It will. It'll probably be $30 and a quarter, whatever, $million per year, which is almost the exact same figure prorated relative to the salary cap as what A.J. Brown got. The Cowboys gain nothing by waiting for this deal to be done. That's why they need to operate with the urgency. This is the same organization who publicly said they weren't making calls in free agency. They were letting agents and players call them. It is their literal job to get deals done. It is the agent's job to get the player, their client, the most money possible. So it's up to the team to occasionally pick up the goddamn phone and call them. All this does is make the deal cost more. I am trying to salvage your precious pie, Stephen Jones. By the way, it doesn't sit well with the players. Yeah, a couple players making subtweets and comments about, Lamb should get paid. Dak should get paid. Micah should get paid. Those things don't go over very well when there's complete lack of commitment from everybody from the top down in the organization. It's just not a good look. And it's frustrating when it happens every single time a player wants the top of the market contract. There's always going to be some back and forth. That's fine between players and agents, or teams and agents. It's frustrating when it's always the Cowboys and always in this fashion. Now, today's show is sponsored by Mando. Spring into the season with a deodorant that can handle the heat. Mando is clinically proven to work hard all day. Instead of covering up BO with heavy fragrances, Mando stops odor at the source, stopping the stink from happening in the first place. Created by a doctor, Mando whole body deodorant is powerful enough for the toughest body odor, but gentle enough to use everywhere, allowing you to put Mando on the family jewels without any worry. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like the mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. On top of that, we have a discount code to help you get hooked on my favorite smelling whole body deodorant on the market. You get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code CHAT. That's CHAT. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Use code CHAT, CHAT, at shopmando.com. That's code CHAT at shopmando.com. Link and promo code will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. Let's talk defense and safety here. Dallas Morning News reporting, again, what I think everyone watching thought would happen. Markquese Bell is set to return to safety after spending time playing linebacker last year. A kind of box safety, Bell was pressed into duty at the linebacker spot amid injuries, and I thought played pretty well. In fact, even though there were some just things that had issues because of his lack of size, I would argue he was the Cowboys' best linebacker this past year. That he actually played very well in that role. And I think going back to safety and playing that kind of, big nickel safety spot and not having to be a 1st and 10 and he's right there in the middle of the box, I think it's going to be a good thing for Markquese Bell. Safety's got Malik Hooker, Donovan Wilson, Bell, Wanye Thomas, Israel Mukuamu. From a body perspective, I think you're in pretty good shape at safety. I would not be mad at an upgrade, but I would be a little surprised if they invested more into the safety spot because they have so many other spots that need starters and or need depth. You walked into week 1 with these safeties, you're probably fine. Now, the next goal is to hit 187,000 subscribers. 432 is the number we are away. We will get a ton of subs during the NFL draft. Let's get to 187 before the NFL draft. Hit that sub button for more free videos. We'll stick with safeties. It's one of my fun days. I get to talk about 2 safeties. I never get to do that with this team. Blogging the Boys, just as the Dallas Cowboys, could bring back Jayron Kearse, and thanks in part to Mark Zimmer. We will come back to why I actually do not buy the Zimmer angle at all. But first, my opinion. I have no desire to do this. I don't see the benefits to bringing back Jayron Kearse. Because remember we just talked about all the time about Markquese Bell? I think Markquese Bell pretty clearly outplayed Jayron Kearse last season. In fact, there were far too many times I thought Kearse was straight up a liability out there. And I would have played Wanye Thomas more over Jayron Kearse. and certainly not over Markquese Bell. So I am not interested here, but what about you guys? Would you re-sign Jayron Kearse? S for sign, P for pass. Go ahead and sound off for me in the comment section of today's video. Now, Malik Hooker, Donovan Wilson, Markquese Bell, Wanye Thomas, and now maybe even Israel Mukuamu, depending on where he ends up playing moving forward. I think those would be better options for what this team currently has at safety. Jayron Kearse struggled in coverage last year. He wasn't moving the same way he did. And all those great splash plays that had emerged, those really weren't there anymore. As for the Jayron Kearse angle, or the Mike Zimmer angle, excuse me. Yes, Mike Zimmer coached Jayron Kearse in Minnesota. Let's not forget what Jayron Kearse tweeted out with his account, not deleted by the way, when he left Minnesota. Gave him the peace signs, and then some guy named Paul says the great ones don't bounce around. Kearse says, I know, because Dion wasn't great at all. And then Paul kind of was like, oh, no, I think you're a great player. Why not stick around? And Jayron said, wish they appreciated me enough to make me want to come back. Which his head coach was still Mike Zimmer. So I would have my doubts about that one. And I think specifically for Jayron Kearse, whose market was never going to be very strong, if all parties involved wanted him to return, I kind of think that would have already happened. Instead, I think the Cowboys know they don't want to bring back Kearse. Stephon Gilmore, different conversation. Kearse,